Welcome back. You're watching Sunday Live. Now, for 7 years, he has been changing the lives of so many Kenyans through Ahadi Trust, particularly focusing on the issue of jigger infestation in many parts of the country. I'm talking about our guest tonight in studio, Dr. Stanley Kamau. He's the founder and CEO of Ahadi Trust Kenya. Dr. Stanley Kamau, thank you for joining us. Should I call you Stanley, Dr. Kamau? What are you comfortable?
Kamau is okay.
Kamau is okay. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I know we've spoken before about the kind of work that you do. You even, escorted us to Marigat the other day to change the lives of a lot of the girls there. Yeah. But take us back to why you chose to champion the fight against jigger infestation in this country.
What I would say is that it's been 7 years. But I started doing community work in the year 2000. I started in my village. I started feeding the orphans, the aged, the widowed, and also the poor people in my village. After I realized that I went to school in the village, and it was through the efforts of the community that they were able to fundraise and take me to school.
Oh, so you wanted to return?
I wanted to do something like giving back to the community. So after I got settled in business, I started giving back now to the community. And in one of the events, I was feeding people in a church of a Christmas period. And when I was there, I realized that there are some families that are very poor that were not in church that particular day. So I asked the pastor, how come this family of so-and-so are not in church to even celebrate with us? And he told me that they cannot walk to church because of jiggers. And that's how the anti-jigger campaign started.
And even growing up, was it something that you witnessed in your village? You can tell us also where you're from.
I'm brought up in the village in Muranga, and I can say that jiggers really affected me. At one point, I almost dropped out of school. Even my toes, I can't wear sandals.
So till now you bear those scars?
Yeah, they've never developed again. And when I started the campaign, I started with about 6 families. But I didn't know that the whole of Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and other African countries are jigger infested. I actually thought it's only in Muranga that where you can fight jiggers, only in my village. And contrary to how people think, I didn't form Ahadi Kenya to solicit for funds from people to support. I formed Ahadi Kenya as a way of bringing my friends, business partners together so that we can be able to chip in some money and buy medication for my people in Muranga. But the problem became bigger. When people in my village started healing, other communities, other areas started calling in. And now today we are talking about over 2.5 million Kenyans who we have registered at Ahadi Kenya who are jigger infested. And particularly, people think that it's only in Muranga where we have jiggers.
Where else? Which other places?
For the last 7 years, we have been going to the communities every weekend. Like yesterday, I'm just from Bungoma. Next week I'm in Laikipia, and then weekend I'm in Meru, and then Kilifi.
And all Kware, these places have this issue.
All these places are highly infested. Muranga is leading. We have Kakamega, we have Kware, we have Lamu, Kilifi, Marsabit. All these areas are jigger infested.
Tell us about the problem of jiggers for people who may not know. What exactly is what exactly happens? How does it come about? How are people affected? Just tell us a little bit about that.
There are so many effects of jigger infestation. One is that when children are affected with jiggers, now we are talking about Millennium Development Goal 2015, talking about universal primary education. We have so many children who cannot be able to walk to school. And those who can walk to school, they cannot even be able to write because they have their fingers, they have their toes, all badly damaged by jiggers.
What causes jiggers? Where do they come from? What happens that people pick them up?
It's caused by a flea. It's a female flea that gets into your body, and it starts laying eggs inside your body. That pot where it lays eggs is what is called the jigger. The white part is called jigger. But another very big effect of jiggers, like the year 2007, and 2013, during the general elections, we have so many people who could not be able to walk to the polling stations in this country. Talk about poor governance, because they cannot be able to vote, they cannot be able to choose leaders. These are the people who require to change the leadership of the country. Are they the same people who cannot be able to change the government? They cannot be able to write because they have all their toes badly damaged. They cannot be able to put thumbprints. Last year, I had to hire matatus to take them to the polling stations. Another big effect of jigger infestation is we have so many people who have become disabled. So any organization that is talking about disability must first of all look at the issue of jigger infestation.
How do you eradicate jigger infestation from where it stems from? Tell us a little bit about, how does someone get infested? What kind of environment do they have to be in to pick up the infection? Is it a filthy environment? Is it a certain type of where exactly do you pick it up from?
Before I get to that, let me explain how we do it so that you see how we can be able to eradicate jiggers.
Okay.
Most people, they only see us washing and cleaning the feet. But what we do, our first step in jigger eradication is to identify the victims. After which we do the intervention, where we do cleaning, we fumigate their homes. Then we do training and education. We do a lot of training. Right now we are educating CBOs, churches, schools, and all the communities about proper hygiene. Jiggers, we realized, are brought up by issue of poverty. Most people who are jigger infested are at the bottom of poverty. So we need to empower them. We have started employment projects. Most people now in many communities are able to earn an income and be able to take their kids to school. They have some savings and they are forming circles now. You'll be surprised that people who are heavily infested, now you go to their bank accounts and you find they have got money in their bank, because we are trying to break the poverty cycle. So for those people who think that we only wash the feet, they should know that we do empowerment projects. We have partnered with different corporate bodies to make sure that these people get out of poverty. And then after that, we rehabilitate. This is where you are seen as now giving shoes to the pupils who have already recovered from jigger infestation, and we take them back to school, we buy them books, and then we educate the teachers, and we form hygiene clubs in those schools. But
for some of them, it's too late. They go beyond the stage of recovery.
For those who have gone beyond the stage of recovery, what we are doing is that we are coming up with vocational training, targeting those who are not able to continue with school and the people who have been disabled.
Okay. Let me move to now the journey towards Ahadi, and it's grown into a very successful organization. But as you shared with me earlier, it wasn't without a lot of battles and obstacles. Tell us a little bit about the journey towards forming Ahadi.
That one, about the journey, I have actually even put it in the book, because it was, I thought, by giving back to the community, by helping communities, I was actually doing a favor to the communities. But I didn't know there are so many roadblocks. There are so many people who are not happy when you are helping the communities. We have the politicians who actually thought that I want to launch my political career. But I won't tell them today that I have no political agenda. I cannot join politics at all. I don't like politics, and I'll never join politics. But the work I do, if I was to stop and land, for example, an office of the governor, that means I'll only help the people of Murang'a. What about those people in Marsabit, in Wajir, in Garissa?
So you feel like it would limit you?
It would limit my movements. And again, I'm not a politician. And if I was to get into politics to be able to help the Kenyan people, I'm doing better than a politician, I think so.
And eventually, when did your breakthrough come? When was the moment that you realized this organization, people are now starting to realize what you're trying to do, and they're embracing the notion? When was that breakthrough moment?
It's when we took our campaign to the former president's home turf, and we were joined by his family. And then I think the politicians started thinking, actually, it's not an embarrassment to the nation. And then the president awarded us with the head of state commendations for our work. So that made the government officials, public health, and each and every other person start now recognize as a campaign. But I can tell you, when we started, the first people who we got and who gave us a lot of headache was the public health. Because the public health asked us, what is so big about jigger infestation in Kenya? Some of them, it's in the book, you can read. They say that we are taking images of mad people on the streets and magnifying that on the TV so that we can be able to get donor money. I want to tell you today that we don't have any foreign donor in Ahadi, Kenya. We depend on our directors and corporate bodies. And again, if the children we are helping were mad people on the streets, why do we then have to keep on engaging the communities?
Are you still facing some form of opposition? And this is purely for people who maybe want to launch something out of their passion. you've done this now for 7 years, but are you still facing certain obstacles? And if you do, how do you overcome them?
Now I can tell you today that we are partnering with the Ministry of Public Health or the Ministry of Health fully, and everyone with Jiga infestation in Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania, they can be able to walk to the nearest dispensary and report the cases of Jiga infestation. So we have partnered fully with the Ministry of Health, we are partnered with the Ministry of Education, we have partnered with the provincial administrators. So we don't have any objections, just a few politicians here and there who think it's an embarrassment. But as you say, those ones we can deal with as long as we have the government on our side. All other issues we can deal with.
All right, and let's talk about your book, A Jiggered Mind.
Yes.
Very interesting title. First of all, what inspired you to write a book at this stage in your life?
What happened is that when I went to start the anti-jigger campaign, I realized that the biggest jigger is not the one affecting people's hands and feet. We have a jigger in our leadership, and this is the jigger of the mind. We have leaders who try to object our campaign. We have leaders who outlet distorted information about our campaign. We have the public health officials who thought that we are making money out of the jigger campaign. We have our own friends and peers who talked badly about this campaign. These are the jiggered minds. A jiggered mind is anybody who is trying to prevent the poor person from getting any help. And this one you can relate to the normal day-to-day's life, where people will talk badly about you, would prevent you from achieving your goals, would do so much to just spoil your name and make sure that you don't get help. So these people, their children are going to very expensive schools, they are driving cars, they sleep very comfortably, but we have people who are suffering in the communities, we have people who are disabled, who are hungry, people who cannot be able to move from point A to B, but that information does not reach the relevant authorities. It's blocked somewhere, and when you want to go and help, you think it's a very good thing you are doing, but the people who are entrusted in helping the communities are the same people who first of all block you. You read about provincial administrators who actually even sabotaged our campaigns. We would book a venue and then they would come and cancel the venue and say that it has been booked by the provincial administration to do their own things.
Just frustrating.
Just frustrating. You read about how we were harassed by the members of parliament. There was a minister, you read about that here, a minister whose brother was almost dying because of jigger infestation. We went to help him and we had to be chased away. We were almost being locked up by the police because we were trying to help someone's brother. Read about the public health who say that we are collecting images and photos so that we can sell them. If Janet today I was to sell the photos to make money out of jigger campaign, I would be a billionaire. I have so many images of jiggers in my office that if I was to sell it, I'll become a millionaire.
So it's just about the mindset
of people.
A jiggered mind.
A jiggered mind is anyone, even today, whatever you are doing, anybody who would post negative things about you, who would talk badly about something. Even now we have cases going on everywhere in this country. People who are happy when others are suffering, and yet they cannot offer that help. Those are the jiggered minds.
All right.
Yeah.
Very quickly, because we're running out of time, a few people talking on Twitter at JMwenda34 is saying that you should also visit Narok. Is this something that you've done before?
Narok, we've been there, but we have not been able to cover the whole of Narok. But we are going to give our address. They can be able to write to us, and we'll get back to them. At
Makeb says, is the government doing anything to deal with the jigger menace?
Actually, we are working very closely with the Ministry of Health, and very soon we are working on having a Jigger Awareness Day or a Jigger Awareness Week, and we have had the best government today because they are fully cooperating with us.
At Odhiskan says, how can I help by joining your team?
We have a Facebook account, the Anti-Jigger Campaign, or Ahadi Kenya. At Ahadi Kenya, that's the Twitter account. They can be able to get us on our email address and also on our office number. They've go to the website, Anti-Jigger Campaign. They'll get all our contacts. Again,
one or two very quick questions. The involvement of the First Lady in the campaign, how did you engage her? How did she come on board?
What people do not know is that even before she became the First Lady, she was still supporting our campaign. We have done a lot of things together. We have been able to buy medication. We have put up houses together. And this is a continuation of the good work she has been doing even before. And even now, even as Ahadi Kenya, we are participating in the marathon I'm going to do the 2 kilometers walk. And
2 kilometers. 2 kilometers is as far as you'll go. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
And Cecilia Mwangi, a face that we've seen over the years, she became your brand ambassador and really brought it out. How did she come on board?
Janet, when I started this campaign, if I was to go there to the media and talk about jiggers, people would think that this guy from the village, what is he going to tell us? So we had to look for somebody who is associated or who people can recognize a beauty. You know, a beauty talking about the beast. And that's how we got her involved. We called on a workshop for all the celebrities and media personalities.
And some of them turned it down.
Some of them, actually most of them, asked us what is in it for them. And I think from that point, I hated the word celebrities. Yeah.
Okay. My director is asking why you didn't choose her. She's offended. She thought she'd be first in line. Lastly, how is the campaign being received in Uganda and Tanzania?
When we started the campaign in 2007, it took us about 4 years before we could move to Uganda and Tanzania. And we got a very, very good reception in Uganda and Tanzania. Actually, the government of Uganda and the government of Tanzania, they are working with us to be able to fully eradicate jiggers in those two countries. And I'm seeing a situation where we are going to learn more from Uganda and Tanzania on the jigger eradication campaigns, because they are doing so much, and they actually took our campaign as a challenge. But here in Kenya,
it's still a work in progress.
Still, yeah.
Final question. Someone is watching this and thinking, I want to be part of an initiative, or I want to make a difference, but they're feeling sort of intimidated by it. They're feeling like it's going to be a challenge. They're not motivated to face all the obstacles that they will. You've overcome so many obstacles to make Ahadi a success. What would you like to say to them? And is there something in the book that can encourage them as well?
One thing is about the book, I have done some quotes. And one of my best quotes is that we don't give because we have excess. We have because we have access. I'm able to access clothes, I'm able to access shoes, I'm able to access a lot of things. What I would tell them is that to be able to, first of all, keep God. Because all these fights I was fighting with the government officials, with the public, with politicians, it's not because I was very, very powerful. But I told God one thing: me, I'm just in your army. You are there, you win the battle. So he was able to push me. I don't even know how sometimes I was able to win this battle. I would go to a place and feel like now I'm so frustrated. I don't even know why I'm going to do this anymore. But something told me, God has chosen you to do something, and you must do it. And that's why I keep on doing this. I don't do this for money. Most people, even those my friends who keep on saying that you make money out of this campaign, we give to the campaign. And I had a business even before I started the Ahadi Kenya. And the business is still there, and I still continue helping the needy. So if you have a passion, if you want to help the communities, it's a must that you must identify your goals and stick to it. Stop listening to people. If I can tell you, if you can be able to read the last two paragraphs of the book, you can be able to get the whole information.
The last two paragraphs.
The last two paragraphs. Yeah. Just read it.
The number 11 and 12, is that where you are?
Yeah, no, the last two paragraphs, number 12.
All right, number 12. If you feel the need to blow off steam, write a letter to your enemies, but never post it. So to all the jigger-minded people that try to derail, I have your letter. I just didn't post it. This book is my letter to you all. And then my advice to you, my brothers and sisters, is that if you have never felt the urge to help a needy person, then you need not fear death, because you're already dead. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Enough said. I think that's covered it all. So you need to have the will and passion to go out there and help people. Yeah, everyone who has a chance to should.
Yeah, but I was telling you before that I've had my own lows and high moments. My lowest moment in this campaign is when we were blocked from accessing an old man in one of the counties. And when we were able to play hide and seek game, we ended up in the man's house. We just found he has just died. And I felt very sad. But I have had my own highs in the campaign when I went to London to receive an award for Kenya, because the government in the UK, they realized that the anti-jigger campaign is one of the campaigns in Africa that are helping in achievement of Millennium Development Goal, the 2015. So when I got that trophy, I felt a winner.
Okay.
Yeah, and also when we went to do the Olympic torch last year, I felt that I have done something for my nation.
I know we need to wind up completely, but someone here is asking that they're not clear on whether it's an issue of hygiene or poverty.
What happens is that, and that's where we are talking about empowerment. And something before I forget is that I've told you about the obstacles that we got in this campaign. But one person that never helped us is a civil society. The civil society, we knocked on their doors, asking them to help, ask them to be able to highlight this issue of the provincial administrators, the leaders who are frustrating. And you know one thing, all the civil society, we went to their offices, they turned their back on us. And that's why I got the last quote, that many will say that they are behind you, but when you turn back, you only see your own shadow. Let me tell you, the civil society, they claim to be able to support or defend Wanjiku. But I think Wanjiku needs to be empowered. Wanjiku needs to fight for herself. We cannot remain as civil society fighting for Wanjiku. We need to empower Wanjiku. And Wanjiku needs to fight for herself tomorrow. So civil society, actually, some of them, I have said in this book, they are also a Jiga-minded people, because most of them, they only demonstrate when they have mega scams in this country. But this Wanjiku who is Jiga-infested, and a Jiga is the most human rights abuser, they never even one day attempted to support us. And today, we have more than 100 civil society groups who are now undertaking the anti-Jiga campaign without knowing the challenges we went and the difficulties we went through.
All right, fine. I'll have to stop you there. Thank you very much, Dr. Stanley Kamau, the founder and CEO of Ahadi Kenya. Thank you for the work that you're doing, and obviously, hopefully inspiring many other people to go out there and achieve their goals. Right, you are watching Sunday Live. We're back after the break with Bernard Dong, who will bring you all the latest in sports. Stay with us.